else ready?
All right. All right. Should I? So is it when I go? All right. It's Thanksgiving at the average American family's house. They're having fun, conversing with one another, watching a football game, maybe even singing a karaoke off key. They gather around the table as they begin to say grace. The turkey is brought onto the table, just as Norman Rockwell paints in. As they begin to enjoy their food, the dreaded conversation begins. They begin to talk about how everything's expensive. The uncle chimes in. You know, Trump's been doing a lot of good for this country. This day of thanks will now become a day of division. The cousin retorts, calling him a bigot, while the mother sits, twiddling her thumbs, thinking of how to change the topic before a table is flipped. This is the norm for many Thanksgiving dinners these days. Hi, I'm Mateo Cabezuela, and I have an obsession with U.S. politics. I love to take in the news and read some Wikipedia article about some obscure politician from the 1960s. I closely follow every presidential and vice presidential debate. I also keep track of every presidential, senatorial, and gubernatorial election, every election season. But recently, it's gotten to a point where I find the contention and the division within our government funny. Our government has become a reality TV show, except with the major consequences affecting us. I'm here to talk about how politics is, how it was, and how we can improve it. Politics should not be a source of division, but rather a source for change. We can remedy this by just reaching across the aisle and humanizing the other side. But how is it? According to studies done by Pew Research, ever since 2016, Democrats and Republicans have grown to hate each other more and more, while viewing their own party as the moral superior. This has led to Congress voting in blocks rather than by their values, just as the founding fathers intended. This isn't good for our country, because this has led to Congress being in gridlock more often, as well as agreeing less. This isn't helped by the rise of extremists and demagogues within the parties, who seek to view compromise as a great evil and detrimental to the movement. But it wasn't always like this.
I think Mr. Nixon is an effective leader of his party. The question before us is, which point of view and which party do we want to lead the United States?
Our disagreement is not about the goals for America, but only about the means to reach those goals.
Politics was civil, it was cordial. Debates weren't shouting matches, they were legitimate discussions of policy that avoided the opponent's character. Political parties also had diversity of thought. They were less polarized. Conservative Democrats like John Connolly and Lloyd Benson helped to keep the Democrats from veering too far to the left, while liberal Republicans like Charles Percy and Nelson Rockefeller helped keep the Republicans from going too far to the right. Congress agreed more often and passed bills almost unanimously, such as the Civil Rights Act and the Immigration Act of 1965. It might seem crazy, but Democrats and Republicans got along. They viewed each other as they had the same goals, they just disagreed on the path to those goals for America. But what led to this? What changed this almost alien world? Well, it was because of the rise of demagogues and grifters on each side. Now, what is a demagogue? According to the Cambridge Dictionary, a demagogue is someone who exploits the emotions of voters rather than campaigning on sound or moral ideas. To be honest, we can see some of these people within both the Democratic and Republican parties. Let's start with the Republican Party. Radio show host Rush Limbaugh was one of the first demagogues to create a rift between Democrats and Republicans, while labeling liberals as everything wrong with America. Newt Gingrich furthered this agenda by demonizing and stonewalling the Democrats during his tenure as Speaker of the House. This would culminate in the rise of Donald John Trump, who brought about complete polarization under the banner of Make America Great Again. The situation is not much better on the Democratic side. George Soros has funded numerous activists who seek partisan, uncompromising change, which excludes the conservative Americans who fear the implications of pure progressivism. Al Sharpton personifies this activist wing by rallying liberals under the banner of demonizing the rich white man for all the problems in America. And Gavin Newsom is a Trump wannabe. He mirrors Trump by stonewalling conservative agendas in his state as well as demonizing his opposition. But what stops him from being Trump is that he is part of the Californian liberal establishment, which makes him a grifter. But how can we improve this? We can improve this by merely reaching across the aisle. By reaching across the aisle, you are humanizing the other side, which we need to do now more than ever. We need to also elect leaders who seek to we need to elect leaders who seek to have compromise, and we need to elect more Democrats and Republicans of old. You can do this by keeping track of your party's primaries for senatorial, congressional, and presidential elections, and find the politicians that rise above the partisan bickering, like Zell Miller or Jack Kemp. In conclusion, as Robert F. Kennedy once said, what is dangerous about extremists is not that they are extreme, but that they are intolerant. The evil is not what they say about their cause, but what they say about their opponents. Should we continue to let politics divide us further and further until our house cannot stand? Or should we seek to reach across the aisle and cause true change within America? Thank you.